Welcome to another episode of The Profile. On tonight's show, we have one Mr. Vince Lewis. How are you, Vince?
Not too bad, Gaz.
Mate, you're sitting in the comfy chair with, well, that spot was saved for your brother Gary.
Yeah, Gary's supposed to be here, but...
but spot isn't Gary's spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
better looking.
He's better looking than
you.
It's because he was older than you. He used to obviously beat you up when you were younger.
He did.
Yeah.
Yes, but now it's my turn. I can give him a bit of a smack on the nose.
So, Vince, where were you born?
I was born in Reading, in England.
Yep. 30 k's out of London.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And my dad was a carpenter.
Yep.
Mum was a hairdresser in London. And Dad just got a job opportunity to come over to Australia.
Yep.
And we just arrived here, had a house for us, and Dad became it was like a pool company, and I think it was FON Pools, and became a supervisor straight away and began our life in Australia. And I arrived on my third birthday.
Wow.
So it was a hell of a third birthday to arrive in Australia, you know, different world for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was probably the best thing we ever did.
Yep.
It's actually come to Australia.
What instruments do you play?
The main instrument is bass. I'm a vocalist as well.
Yep.
That's why my voice is a bit hard, you know, hoarse tonight. I play guitar, a bit of guitar, a little bit of keyboards. And when Gary wants me to check his drums, you know, for out the front, sometimes I have a bit of a hit on the drums.
Yep.
But I haven't got the rhythm for that.
Yep.
So got the rhythm for the bass, but not for the drums.
What was the turning point in your life where the light bulb went on and you said, I'm going to be a musician?
Well, it was sort of forced upon me, really. My brother was starting a little band back in 1976, and I was playing a little bit of guitar, and he put an ad in the paper to start a band, and this guy called Mike Wiltshire, he responded to the ad, and they needed a bass player, and I hadn't played bass ever. And they said, well, you need to learn bass. We're going to start playing in 3 or 4 weeks. So they basically threw a bass around my neck and just said, you got to start playing.
Yep.
And we started doing some gigs with bands like Breakaway, Catch, you know, all those sort of bands.
Was that Blood Brothers?
That was Blood Brothers,
So
yeah.
You were 9 years old?
9 years old.
You were playing in pubs?
I was playing in pubs.
Unreal.
Yeah, they used to sometimes come up to me and say, you have to leave now. And I'd say to them, well, if you want me to leave, you'll have no band tonight. And they would sometimes get a little bit angry. I was like, no, I'm in the band. Yeah. And they're looking at this little 9-year-old kid, you know. But yeah, it was, I mean, such an eye-opening experience to be in pubs at such a young age. But it was just, I mean, obviously it was just massive, you know, for someone my age. But there would be days where I'd be backstage hunched over a table saying to Mum and Dad, I can't do it. I can't go on. I just can't do it. I was shaking and I was getting cramps in my stomach. And they said, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And I'd go out there and I would just stand there. And for the first few years I was frozen because it was just, you know, such a big experience. But I just loved it. Yeah. You know, from that minute, I mean, Dad was a drummer, so he got my brother Gary here into drums.
He's got that spot.
And Gary obviously had it in his blood. You know, I thought, well, if he's got it in his blood, then I must have it.
Because I remember your mum and dad being at gigs, and I think a lot of people would remember your mum.
Yeah, well, Mum and Dad, I mean, Dad used to sort of manage all the bands that we were in when we were younger, and Mum would be the door person. Because back then you had to pay to get into the pubs. You know, $5 or $2 or whatever it was, and now obviously they don't have the cover charge unless it's a show. So Mum would be at the door, and Dad would be either front of stage or backstage. You know, making sure everything's right and making sure we got the costumes right. Because we had some pretty outrageous costumes in the later years.
Great. So Skin Deep was 1978. After that, 2 drummers. Can you tell me about that? Or?
Yeah, it was a concept that my dad put together because there was a drumming thing by Gene Krupa, and it was called Skin Deep.
Yes.
And it was just this massive drum solo. And Dad thought, well, let's put a floor show together and have 2 drummers. So once again, we put ads in the paper, try and find the right person. And this drummer came along who could actually play guitar, and his name was Jamie Manifest.
Yes.
And he was in quite a few bands later on in the years. And he said, well, I can play guitar as well. So what my dad put together was like a dueling drum solos.
Yep.
They would play one, then they'd play one. And then Jamie would get off the drums, put the guitar on, I'd come off the side of the stage, put the bass on, and we'd play like Smoke on the Water and a bit of AC/DC, and Gary would play the drums to it.
Yeah.
And then his sister Liana, who was probably about 11 at the time, it's probably a little bit inappropriate for nowadays. She'd come out in like a little bikini and do like a little dance and things like that. And it was just something that Dad put together, you know, and it was great. You know, we would do like sometimes 3 floor shows a night. You know, we'd start at one pub, go to another pub, and then we'd end up at the Sheraton doing one as well.
It's funny because that probably influenced Gary Glitter and Adam in the Ants to have 2 drummers, really.
Well, if you can claim that, that'd be good to claim that actually. So
in the corporate world, Faces were sort of at the beginning of it, really.
Yeah.
1991 to 1996, Eddie Robinson, great friend of mine as well, and put that together. But, you know, you were doing corporate work before corporate work really started, if you like. So.
We were so busy. Like when I got the call to join Faces, it was like, oh, this is going to be it, you know, because I've always wanted to be a professional musician.
Yeah.
Do nothing else during the day, but play music.
Yeah.
Because it was so much in me. And they said, oh, you know, we're working this much. We're actually doing a tour to Southeast Asia.
Yep.
And that my ears just pricked up. I was like, this is going to be fun.
Because you toured a lot in Asia, did you?
Yeah, we did Jakarta.
Yeah.
We did, the first trip was Singapore. And we released a single over there. We got some songs from Warner Chappell, and they said to us, pick which songs you would like, and then record them, which we did at the old Planet Studios with John Villani. Yeah. And we recorded the single, went to Singapore, did a press conference when we got there and all that type of thing, because it was a very sort of theatrical band as well. We had 2 backup singers, and they would come out in full costumes, and you know, it was like a big show, like sometimes like a Vegas show, you know. And in the paper over in Singapore, they had like 2 pages of all this stuff about us, and it was good. And I'm thinking, this is going to be the big break, you know, of playing music and wanting to play music, and it was great. And we came back and we were working a lot. You know, working at like the Hurlingham, the Breakwater, the front bar at the Raffles, not the big room, the front bar, and it was great. And then we went to Asia again. I did a couple of tours to Asia, and it was great because I was actually a professional musician. I wasn't working during the day. Didn't have to. You know, I'd play golf and things like that. For me, it was the life. You know, it wasn't, you know, full on rock star, but just to be able to get up when you wanted and just go to a gig. And we had sort of a bit of a road crew, not a huge sized road crew, so you wouldn't have to set up too much gear and that type of thing. So it was fantastic. I loved it.
So who was in the band that originally?
There was Roger Pryor.
Yeah.
There was Wendy, his wife, who she used to be called Wendy Cotcham. She used to do we used to do talent quests back in like 77, the Blood Brothers, and her sister used to go to do the talent quests. And when they heard the Blood Brothers were in the talent quest, they go, we're not going to win. That's it. We're done. And they'd cry backstage because they just knew that we would win.
Was Adam in the band?
No, Adam wasn't in the band at that time.
Okay.
It was just Mike, Gary, and myself. So, you know, we'd do the talent quests, and it's actually a funny story because we did a talent quest at Carrot Up Shopping Centre, And Jamie McCanty saw us there.
Yeah.
And this is before he started playing. And he saw us and said, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
I want to play music.
Yeah.
And he used to tell the story when Gary first joined the band, and because Gary was in Slim Jim.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really? He said, yeah. I said, I was blown away that he would say that, because I mean, he's,
Yeah.
you know, such a sort of a name around town.
Yeah.
And for us to be the influence that made him start playing,
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
So you took a break for a year or two. Why, after all of that you just explained to me that?
I thought, you know, I met someone, and I thought, I've played music for quite a while, because I've been starting at 9 years old,
Yeah.
and sort of into the 90s, it was like, no, I think I've done enough now. So I thought, okay, what I'll do, I'll quit music, get a full-time job. I was actually manager of Domino's Pizza.
All right.
And I opened a couple of the stores, the really big stores. And I was hating every minute of it. But she didn't want me to play music.
Yep.
She was like, no, it's, you know, it's a bad industry and all this type of thing. And I was like, well, this is who I am. I mean, you understand, it's once it's in your blood.
It's definitely a bad industry.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I understand
It is,
completely.
Gary.
Yes.
But no, and it was like, I just wanted to play, but
Yeah.
I thought, no, maybe I should like settle down, maybe start a family and leave it behind. But it was the worst mistake I made, definitely.
So, friend of mine, Monique Robinson,
Yep.
or O'Sullivan now.
O'Sullivan
Sean.
now, yes.
You joined a band called Blush.
Yeah.
So, where did you play? So that was a great band.
Yeah, I love playing in Blush. You know, it was, because when I joined, the Anamika was
Yes,
still in it.
great guitar player.
Steph was in it.
Yeah,
Tornatora.
yeah,
We played the Breakwater. I think we played the Hurlingham as well. We played a lot of venues, but it was a really good band. You know, it was a very tight band.
So would you have at that time then said, "I'm going to keep playing music" to the ex-wife?
Yeah. Well, that's sort of, she went away.
Yes.
Type of thing. It was like, because I had the bug again, and there was no way I was going back to doing the full-time job. I mean, I was working at Domino's, and I just basically said to the owner, I said, that's it. I said, I'm leaving. I'm playing music again.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I just wanted to keep playing,
Yeah.
so that's what I did.
So your mum and dad had a massive influence on you, obviously. We all knew them. They were
Oh.
always around. So
Always.
they went to every gig you played, and
Every gig.
so they were obviously a huge influence on,
Yeah,
on
well-
your life. And
Because Dad was a drummer, and my grandfather played piano and violin. So there's obviously music in the
Yeah.
Lewis family.
yeah,
And, you know, he actually bought my first guitar. We were walking through town, and we were walking through a music store, and I saw a red guitar. It looked like a Strat, but it was some cheap make. And I said to Dad, I said, oh, I want that. I want a guitar. I want a guitar. He goes, no, you're not getting one. And we walked out of the shop, and Dad said, I'm just going somewhere for a little while. And he actually walked back in
Got the
and
guitar.
came out with the guitar. And I was
Fantastic.
like, thank you. So they were always so supportive
Yeah.
of Gary and myself all the time, you know, and, you know, I've got everything to thank
yeah.
to them, you know.
Well, Gary obviously couldn't be here tonight, and
No.
that's why Spot's got his
Yeah.
spot. But so, what sort of influence was Gary on you musically?
Well, I mean, obviously him being a drummer and me being a bass player, I thought, well, let's just keep playing together, you know. And he was an influence because he was out there doing stuff before I was doing
Yeah.
stuff. He was doing little talent quests and
Yeah.
playing Bohemian Rhapsody on drums and Crunch of Granola in these talent quests. and he had a massive drum kit, Studio 10 Rogers kit,
Yeah.
you know, and Gary was, you know, with this kit, and obviously I was just looking and just going, oh, how's he doing it?
Yeah.
You know, because as I said, I was so nervous to play when I first got on stage. Now you got to drag me off at the end of the night, you know, in a wheelchair at the moment.
Yeah, I got a chance to play with him in Gobbles, I think, after the night after.
Yeah.
Lavish Garden
Lavish
Gnomes.
Garden Gnomes. I still don't know to this day why you were named that, but I remember.
I think it was Mick Chinnery had something to
Yeah,
do with
and
that.
there was KB on bass. There was sax player was Smith.
Yeah. Jimmy
Smith. Yeah. And you had these cutouts of little garden gnomes around the stage.
Yes.
And I thought like Night After's quite a good name, but then when I heard Lavish Garden Gnomes, I was thought I don't know what they were thinking, but that was a great, because I used to come up after I'd play with Faces or something like that, and I'd come up to Gobbles and watch you guys, you know, and it was great. And a couple of times I got up and had a bit of a jam with you guys and that. But Gary's been the influence, because whenever he's not in a band, he seems to be always playing together with me, which I love.
Yeah.
You know, to have a rhythm section that's basically been playing for 40 odd years on and off together.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've sort of got it right now.
You should be tied by now, shouldn't you? Hey?
I think we're starting to get a little bit looser now, because we're getting a little bit older, and it's like, you know,
Like
you look at him and he's like,
everything gets older, it gets looser. Yeah. Okay, so 2004, you started a band called The Way.
Yep.
Who was in that band? Tell me about Steve Essex, because I know Steve talked about this.
Yeah, because I remember watching the interview with Steve. Yeah, we sort of formed a band, and Gary was the drummer again, but Gary had a problem with arthritis, so he had to stop playing. And I've known Steve since about 1979, I think.
Yeah.
And we got hold of Steve and said, "Do you want to join the band?" So I said, "Yep." So he joined, and then Gary's arthritis was getting better. He was taking medication, and he said, Steve said, "Oh, I'm doing FIFO now. I'm flying in, fly out." So Gary said, "What I'll do the gigs when you're up north, and then we rotate the drummers," which was a little bit weird for me, because being a bass player, you're playing with your brother for so long, and then all of a sudden you're playing with a different drummer. I mean, Steve's a great drummer and great harmony, great voice, and it was hard for me to sort of have that transition sometimes. But then after a while, it worked out that most of the gigs we did were while Steve was up north.
Yeah.
So Gary became the main player again, and then Steve would just come in every now and then and play. But it was a really good band. I had Bruce Coleman, who was in the Troubadours, and he was actually in the Mixtures when I joined the Mixtures in '86, and he was the keyboard player in the Mixtures with Peter Williams. So
you went and toured up north a bit with Peter and all
with
that,
the
didn't you?
Mixtures, we did all the way to Broome, like the Cable Beach Resort, all the way down Exmouth, down south, and obviously doing the push bike song, Captain Zero in the summertime. So that was and we used to do a little show in the middle called the Mixers Meltdown, and we'd come out dressed as Meatloaf and Blues Brothers and do all that stuff in the middle set.
Great.
And it was great, because it was like theatrical, because I love the theatrics of performing.
Yeah.
You know,
And was Brendan Fosdyke in
Brendan
the band?
Fosdyke was in it
Yeah,
before I
that,
joined. I actually replaced Paul Reynolds,
All right, yeah.
and because he was leaving, and then I replaced him.
All these names, we've interviewed them all. Paul, Brenton, Peter Williams.
Steve, Essex, We haven't done Gary, but we can't.
Well, he's here in spots.
He's quite nice, actually.
So these days you're playing Robo Mosquito with Gary.
With Gary again. I mean, I don't think I can get away from him. You know,
It doesn't look like it. He's ever going to leave you, does it?
No. Well, it's good actually, because we had when I joined Robo Mosquito, Dave Eamers was the drummer for Loaded Dice.
Yes.
And
another person we've interviewed.
Yes.
I'll just ring the bell.
What's that for?
That's a anemometer.
Oh.
Yeah, when you say a name.
Oh,
We're
okay.
supposed to ring it all the time, but it would drive you nuts. If we did it every time you mentioned a name.
It would do. So Dave was the drummer, and it got a little bit too much for like doing a lot of gigs and stuff like that. And Dave was like, maybe scale back a bit. And it was actually the night of my mum's funeral. We had a gig, and we did the gig because I knew my mum would still want me to do the gig. And Gary said, "Can I get up and play a couple of songs?" It's like, yeah, obviously being my brother, I was like, yeah. And then the next night, we got a phone call saying, "Oh, can you do a gig at the Wanneroo Tavern?" And Dave couldn't do it. And I ran up to Gaz quickly. I said, "Gaz, can you do the gig with us tonight?" He goes, yeah, okay. And we had a lot of click track stuff. And I thought, oh, hopefully he's be all right. And he nailed it. And after the gig, I said to Gaz, I said, "Look, you've got to get back into music again," because he'd quit.
Yeah.
And to this day, we're playing together again. And
Cool.
we with Rob Pianta, who used to be in Wayne Green and the Phantoms.
Yes, Rob.
So some people call him Special Rob.
Yes.
Rob's very special, But and we've just acquired a female singer called Binks as well, and she's incredible. So we've gone from a 3-piece to a 4-piece now. So I mean, obviously at the age I am, it's great to be playing live and regular gigs. Even though at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're driving home and you're like, why am I doing this? And you wake up the next day and go, I want to do it again. So I love it.
So what was your earliest influence by a musician or band? Who would that have been?
Well, I mean, the earliest influence was actually Stanley Clarke.
Wow.
Like the album School Days and things like that.
Yeah.
Stanley Clarke and George Duke I just love listening to that stuff, and Jacko Pastorius.
Yes.
That was like the real early influence. And then I sort of found these 4 guys that, wore makeup, and I thought, I'd like to play like someone like Mark King, but have the theatrics of someone like Gene Simmons on stage, and from that minute when I saw Kiss, I was like, this is the band for me.
Have you ever painted your face and
That's one
stuck
thing
out the tongue?
I've never painted my face. I've seen them 5 times, but I've never painted my face. But I think, they're coming at the end of this year. I think maybe I should paint my face this time.
So favourite band of all time?
Kiss. Of course.
Kiss. So, first album you bought?
First album was Kiss, actually.
What's the next question now?
Favourite Prince song?
Favourite Prince song?
Kiss. I think it's more the word I like. I think I'm starting to think that maybe it's just the word that.
Now you brought your wonderful wife here tonight.
Yes, my wife Diane.
What was the first thing you did when you met her?
We actually met at a Kiss concert.
And you?
Kissed her.
Ah.
And we even had a Kiss wedding.
There she is.
We even had a Kiss wedding, and Darren Reed was the MC at our wedding.
Okay, so if you were stranded on a deserted island, you could only take one album with you.
Yep.
What album would that be?
Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
Gosh, I thought you were going to say Kiss.
No.
Destroyer or something.
Because I've got Kiss in my head, I don't need to take an album. But if I'm laying on the beach at night on a deserted island, looking up at the stars, and I'm playing Great Gig in the Sky, that would just make it for me.
Yeah.
It's just one of those albums. I mean, Kiss is just, love them and everything, but when you put on Pink Floyd.
You've just gone
nothing
down
like
in
it.
my shitometer. That's great. No, so,
How high was I?
oh, you were getting there. Tell you. I'm not supposed to have an opinion, so sorry. So, what was your favourite TV show growing up, Vince?
I like Lost in Space.
Yep.
And anything from Irwin Allen, like Voice at the Bottom of the Sea.
Was Gene Simmons in that show? No.
Oh, he's in everything, isn't he, really?
Yeah.
So he's probably in that as well.
Yeah.
But like the Time Tunnel, all
All
those
quirkies.
Land of the Giants,
Yes.
all those great shows,
How do you reckon they made Land of the Giants? Like those, how do you reckon they made them smaller and all that?
Well, they just made big
Did they?
sets.
Okay.
So, This would be like a huge dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gaz is getting bigger. So, what does the future hold for you, Vince?
Well, probably just doing as many gigs as I can.
Yep.
You know, at the age I am, to still be performing is great. You know,
Yeah.
after so many years, 40 odd years. I mean, I'm happy where I am. I mean, you know, I've got a wife, got a great family.
Yeah.
I don't sort of, you know, need much else. Maybe just a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's probably all I need, really.
Money really doesn't mean anything, believe me. So, do you have any unfulfilled ambitions that you have, or?
Not really. I mean, obviously everybody wants to be famous when they play music, but one thing I've always wanted to do was record a single, which I did.
Yeah.
And it was put in some of the Sanity record stores when they were still around.
Yeah.
And tracks, and to hear a song that I played on the radio, which one night I left the gig, and on 94.5 they played one of the Faces songs.
Wow.
So that was always my ambition, was to record a single or a CD and hear it on the radio.
Yeah.
So I think I've sort of done that part of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it is at the moment.
Yeah. Do you collect anything?
Okay. I've got I'm still collecting Kiss memorabilia.
Knock me down.
I have a horror collection, which
horror?
is horror.
Right.
Like Freddy Krueger, Jason. That's why I've got my Jason and
Oh, okay.
Freddy Krueger tattoo.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Star Trek. I've got a ever-growing Star Trek collection as well. So, yeah, our house is like walking into a pop culture store.
Wow.
Because my wife, she collects like Gone with the Wind, Elvis, and like Disney stuff. So we've got all glass cabinets. So you walk into our house and it's like a store. So
Elvis meets Star Trek in the
Yeah.
near future. Or,
yeah, mine is sort of pushed in the corner a bit. You
Yes.
know, the wives are taking over a little bit, but it's okay. But yeah,
Frankly-
I just love cat.
frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Yes.
So, what would you put on your gravestone, Vince?
Now this is something that I've been saying for a number of years. He sang Mustang Sally till the day he died.
Wow.
And then in brackets underneath, ride, Sally, ride. And I've been saying that for a lot of years, but I haven't sung Mustang Sally for a little while, so maybe I'll be changing that. Maybe it won't be that on my gravestone.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I could just put on there, he lived a great life.
Is there something about Vince Lewis that we don't know?
No, not really.
You wanna tell us?
I think you've
Extracted most
yeah, I
of
think
it?
you've pulled everything out of me, actually. No, I just love playing music, you know, and it's something that I've always loved, and I think I'll always love to the day I die.
And I think everyone who's ever known you as well can definitely believe that, because you're infectious with it. So
Cheers. Yeah, I just
yeah,
love having fun.
Yeah,
You know, it's
cool.
a bit harder now because of the age, but love it.
it's the same for all of us, apart from me. So what clip are we gonna hear?
Well, I was in a band called He Goes I Go, with Gary,
Yeah,
and it's going to be just one of the original songs that we did
great.
at a Battle of the Bands that we got to the finals. We didn't win, but we got to the finals. So that's
Fantastic.
just the clip that you guys will be showing
Yeah,
tonight.
excellent.
So it's from 1989.
Wow, long time ago.
It certainly is, yeah.
Look, fantastic having you on.
Oh,
mate.
it's been great. Had
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yep. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for
Yeah.
coming in. And subscribers, don't forget to subscribe to the profile on YouTube. Please like our videos and comment. Let us know who you think we should interview. Maybe it's Mark. Maybe it's Phil. Maybe it's Al. You never know. Yeah. Look, thanks for joining us again tonight, and thank you for coming in, and
No
enjoy
problems.
the clip, and
Thank
we'll
you.
see you next time. Thank you.
This is a bit of a reggae song. It goes like this. I would like to walk the streets of America. I would like to see the 7 wonders of the world. I would like to settle in America. I would go to Washington to meet the president. How'd you do, sir? This is country band. Or is it you, sir? Can you tell the truth? Or don't you know anymore? I would like to meet the real red Indians. I would like to see the red man hunt the buffalo. I would like to be the Wild West traveler. I would like to ride the prairie down to Mexico, Montego, when the tequila flows, mucho vino, and I'm from the low. I will be a bandito. I can live without you, see without you, be without you. I can live without you, see America. I said I can live without you, see without you, be without you. I can live without you, see America. I would like to meet the names in Hollywood. I would like to see your children growing in the sun. I would like to be the name in Hollywood. I would put out dots and fences back my stately home on the hillside. When I was on the phone, staying inside. Watch the world go by through a hole in my wall. I can live without you, see without you, be without you. I can live without you, see America. I said I can live without you, see without you, be without you. I can live without you, see America. Thank you.
At ProCopy, we can transfer audio to CD, make CD, DVD and Blu-ray copies, transfer video to DVD, Blu-ray or HD, digitize slides and photos and supply custom USBs. You can see more details at procopy.com.au or call us on 089375 3902 for more information.